On Nationwide this evening, love is in the air as we look forward to Valentine's Day tomorrow. We meet a man who went to great lengths to make sure his marriage proposal was really special. In Dublin, we meet a couple whose love of chocolate has brought them together in more ways than one. And in County Clare, the not-so-young couple who have tied the knot after a 22-year courtship. You're very welcome to the programme. This evening on Nationwide, we're giving you the chance to enter a very romantic competition. Tomorrow, as you well know, is Valentine's Day, and with this in mind, we're giving you the chance to experience the very best that Ireland has to offer, along with extra spending money to spend as you wish. We're giving you the chance to win a luxury weekend breakaway for two, along with €1,000 spending money. So have pen and paper at the ready, because we'll be giving you the details later in the programme. I've come to the restaurant at the Gibson Hotel in Dublin, where the television programme First Dates Ireland is filmed. It's at these tables where the couples first get to know one another, and where sometimes romance begins.
Of course. Don't worry if they don't like you. You're just the right recipe for someone else.
Now, Valentine's Day is a very significant day when many people decide to ask that very special person in their lives to marry them. Our first story this evening comes from Waterford, where one local man went to a lot of trouble to surprise his bride-to-be with his marriage proposal involving the local brass band. Let's see how their day went.
I never even knew that I could feel this way. Nothing I could do. Everything must change when love gets in the way. Everything must change when love gets in the way.
So we met in Yates College in Waterford in fifth year in school, and went to college together then. Then he went to Scotland for a little while, so that's kind of the background story. He's home now, and he popped the question. I was getting a little concerned. It took so long, but it was definitely worth waiting for. We were going on holidays the following week to America, so I kind of thought it might happen then. I definitely never expected, in wellies on the beach in the pouring rain.
So yeah, I suppose the time had come that it was, time to propose, and I'd come up with the idea. I kind of, to be honest, I wanted to do something kind of unique and creative, and I'd come across Sean's work on Facebook actually, and I'd seen it and I thought, wow, that's really nice beach art, and I love the Copper Coast, so I said maybe we could try to combine, Sean's beach art and the location. So I messaged Sean and I said, here, I have an idea, and straight away he was up for it. He said, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do it, and it kind of just snowballed from there.
Well, the first thing was I got a phone call from James, and he said, hey, looking to do something different for, Orla in terms of to make an engagement with her, a proposal. So I said, yeah, let's have a chat. So he came out, and before long we hooked up with Alan Magner, the photographer, who on the day, coincidentally, it was pouring rain, lashing from the sky. So in fact, Alan Magner was up on the cliffs over here on the left, underneath an umbrella with his camera trained on the lucky perch where Orla first looked out over the edge.
What could it be? It's matrimony.
Well, I suppose James was quite enthusiastic about it. I'd also had a phone call from Waterford City and County Council about the Cummer Wild Festival, so they wanted me to put something together for that. Also, John Murnan from the City of Waterford Brass had contacted me, wanted me to do something with the brass band and maybe with the sand art. He loved the sand art as well. So I kind of put two and two together. There was the Cummer Wild Festival, there was the City of Waterford Brass, and then I had this phone call from James. So I put the three ideas together, and we actually promoted it as brass band beach art. So everybody that arrived, a couple of hundred people arrived, even in the torrential rain, thinking that they were coming to some crazy event with beach art and a brass band on Stradbally Cove here. But in fact, the entire thing was a cover story for the wedding proposal in the sand.
We sat down, and Sean said, let's jump on the back of the Cummer Wilds Festival. And he said there's a brass band and a beach art, and I was straight away, I was like, no, it's just too much. And his kind of enthusiasm got me on board, and we went ahead, and he said, look, we'll kind of hijack the festival, and I'll write on the sand, and you can take her up the cliff, and it'll be really nice. So I kind of went with it, and it was one of these, kind of small ideas that kind of snowballed and turned and escalated into this much bigger event than it was originally supposed to be. But I kind of jumped on board because I thought she might like it. So
I loved it.
yeah, it came together nicely in the end, and it turned into what it was, and yeah, it just turned out really nice.
We pulled up in the car and I'd never been to Strad Valley before, so I just kind of started, he led the way and I started following him. So we walked up, it took about, I'd say, 10 minutes, and I was expecting a brass band and I was expecting sand art, so I didn't think anything, but from where we were walking you couldn't see anything. And then just as we kind of got to the perch that he'd made, I heard music start, and like the first chord then of Matrimony, I was like, okay, there's something weird going on here, and I kind of froze, and he was like, Orla, keep walking, like you have to keep walking.
Yeah,
so,
grabbed her hand.
yeah, he's like, just like, come on, and like grab me, and then I stood up and I completely froze. So yeah, it took a little while for it to set in what was happening. There was a lot of people, the drone above my head and the photographer on the other headlands. It was a lot to take in.
There was a lot
and then the
going on,
proposal itself, yeah, so then he dropped one knee and that was it.
Finally. Told you the sun shines here at times.
And I did a drawing for James, and we agreed what the design was going to be. I suppose the most awkward thing for me was to be able to get Orla into a place along the cliff here on the right-hand side without her looking down on the beach. So that actually involves, I looked on Google Earth and there was an old pathway all the way along this headland. So I actually spent 6 evenings with a slash hook cutting through the briars and the bushes and the bracken to try and get a pathway back to a kind of a perch. I made a little perch where James brought Orla to look out over, and there it was, the wedding proposal in the sand below.
It was perfect. When we got up here, it was when she stepped up onto the perch and looked down, there was a gap of about 5 or 6 seconds where I was like, is she going to say anything? But yeah, poor Orla was in shock. But eventually it sunk in, and she said yes.
Trust your soon-to-be old man, he knows what is best.
It was a proposal of a lifetime, it really was. He went to a lot of trouble and he really executed it well. So I said yes, took me a couple of seconds, but it was only right that I went down and wrote yes in the sand in response, so that was good fun. Sean taught me how to use his rake, and yeah.
Joining together, two people.
Well, I think the way I kind of see it is this mightn't be everybody's cup of tea, to have something as public, I suppose, as this. But really, to be honest, I think James has put it up to a lot of guys out there to try and top that.
Strad Valley will always be a special place. It absolutely has a special place in my heart now.
Definitely a story for the grandkids.
Everything must change when love gets in the way. Everything must change when love gets in the way.
Oh, how romantic was that? So maybe some ideas there for anybody else who is contemplating a proposal this Valentine's week. Now, it's competition time for you at home. You could win a 2-night 5-star break for two to the beautiful Powerscourt Hotel, Resort and Spa in County Wicklow, plus €1,000 spending money. For your chance to win, answer this question. Which of these counties is known as the Garden of Ireland? Is it Wicklow, Cork or Dublin? If you know the answer, call our new number on 15 17 71 71 15 or text the word NATION followed by your answer and name to 57001. Calls from the Air network will cost €2.03. Calls from other networks may be higher. Viewers in Northern Ireland can also text to 57001 or call the number on screen. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines close at midday this Wednesday, February the 15th. Further details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed. And good luck to one and all with that. This evening on Nationwide, romance is in the air, and our next story concerns a couple who love one another dearly, but who also share a love of chocolate. Valerie Waters has the story of confectionery and romance.
Cocoa beans from Ghana, Venezuela, Dominican Republic and Colombia are the main ingredients for artisan chocolate products made here in Dublin by Kelly and Patrick Marjolais. This couple, who've been together for almost 20 years, have recently set up their own business called The Proper Chocolate Company. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is huge for chocolate. We like to think that our chocolate's pretty special. It's made with heart, it's made with our own ingredients, it's made our own recipes, and everything is from scratch.
Patrick is French, and his background is in computer science. Kelly is American, and her background is in marketing and communications. Both Patrick and Kelly have lived in several cities, in France and in the US over the years.
We never really wanted our lives to be directed by the things you have to do, but by the things we wanted to do. Go to a place because we like the place.
1 degree Celsius per minute.
And from time to time, we found ourselves not having jobs, so spending more time together, and or having jobs and being busy during the day. More recently, we decided to launch a chocolate company, and that's a bit of a learning experience for us because we now work together in the same business, and we have very different ways of working. And so it's actually quite refreshing in some ways because I got to learn a bit more about Kelly.
Neither Patrick nor Kelly have any family connections with Ireland. They live in Rathmines in Dublin because the pace of life here suits them. They are well used to and very good at teamwork.
Initially, the idea was Patrick will make the chocolate and I'll do the marketing and sales, and I'll stay in my little bubble over there and he'll do his little bubble over there, and it'll be great. But reality is there's a lot more crossover. In a practical sense, it takes much more than one person to make chocolate. It's quite an intense physical activity. And then the marketing side, you can't do that, in a silo either. You need the expertise and the understanding and everything that he brings, sort of from his side, needs to feed into everything we're communicating out as well.
Patrick and Kelly's love for each other has deepened over the years, which now allows them to be together all of the time.
We wouldn't have been able to do this earlier in our relationship or in our 20s. We back then we did try to do a couple of business ideas we tried out, and it just became really evident really quickly that our working styles clashed, and it just wasn't going to work out. And I think through our 20s and through our 30s now, we've learned enough about ourselves, our own strengths, our own weaknesses, but also enough about each other's strengths and weaknesses, and knowing how to give each other room and the space to do what the other one needs to do to get there. I think it's also, we have more respect than we've ever had for one another and our own talents, each other's talents. When it hits the fan, we somehow end up laughing. we have fun, and that really makes it all worth it.
There you have a tasty new business born out of love. After the break, we're going to meet another couple who recently tied the knot. We'll see you in a few minutes. You're very welcome back to Nationwide, where romance is most definitely in the air. And before we go to our next story, we're going to give you another chance to enter our romantic competition. You could win a 2-night 5-star break for two to the beautiful Powerscourt Hotel, Resort and Spa in County Wicklow, plus €1,000 spending money. For your chance to win, answer this question. Which of these counties is known as the Garden of Ireland? Is it Wicklow, Cork or Dublin? If you know the answer, call our new number on 15 17 71 71 15 or text the word NATION followed by your answer and name to 57001. Calls from the Air network will cost €2.03. Calls from other networks may be higher. Viewers in Northern Ireland can also text to 57001 or call the number on screen. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines close at midday this Wednesday, February the 15th. Further details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed. And the very best of luck in the competition with that. Now, staying with matters romantic and marital, County Clare was the only county in the country not to have hosted a same-sex marriage ceremony in the year after the 2015 equality referendum. But recently there have been a number of gay weddings in the Banner County. We've been to meet Bernard Lynch and Billy Desmond at their home in Lahinch after their recent nuptials.
Some of it's just transcendental, some of it's just really dumb.
We've been coming here all our lives. My parents met up here, fell in love here, and it's home. And, you know, home is where the heart is, and this is the heart of me.
When I came here first to Bernard, I just fell like, it was like a spell. I was spellbound by its beauty. I think it's the best way I can describe about it. It took my breath away. And then through him, I fell in love with it, really, because of his way of looking at the world here.
After 23 years together, former priest Bernard Lynch from Clare and psychotherapist Billy Desmond from Cork finally tied the knot. They took their vows at a wedding ceremony at the Armada Hotel in Spanish Point with family, friends and County Clare neighbours.
People around here are different, in the best sense of that word. We haven't had a homophobic remark in the 23 years of our relationship by the ordinary farming folk of this area. So it was our joy and indeed our privilege to invite them. And they didn't hesitate. I mean, they were talking about it and the lead up to it and what was it going to be like.
In some ways, it just unfolded. It was a part of the delight of it. We had a kind of a structure for the day and we're very clear. Whatever happens, will happen. And it did, it just unfolded. So the meal went on until around 10:30, 11. We started at 3 o'clock in the day. Then we had a band, which were a fantastic reggae band. That went until 2:30. They were really generous. They were meant to be finished at 12 o'clock, but they went on because everybody was on the dance floor and booging around. And then we went into the bar afterwards and we had a session, which we finished up around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So we had a really kind of genuine Irish wedding, so to speak, in that regard. I always see myself as an uncle to the nephews and nieces, your nephews and nieces. But something shifted in them over the weekend, where they would come along and say to me, "Oh, it's really Uncle Billy now." So there was this sense of they were shifting because of what they experienced in the day. So I think there was more of a shift around me than actually in me itself.
Originally from Ennis, Bernard was ordained in 1971 and worked in Zambia, London and New York. These days, Bernard and Billy share their time between London and Lahinch, where they have a house overlooking the ocean. They were delighted to share their special day with Bernard's father, who still lives in Ennis.
He's 92, just gone, and it was very important to both of us that he was there. I came out to him in 1982, which is we were still criminals in this country. We were still sick, according to the psychological professions, and of course we were and still are sinful, according to the Catholic Church. And my father hasn't, no more than Billy's parents, hasn't travelled a lot outside of the island of Ireland. And when I told him I was gay, he simply and sincerely said, "That is the way God has made you." And he meant it. There was no further discussion. And when I met Billy, all those years later, and I introduced Billy, and he was taken by Billy and is very much still Billy's father-in-law. His only concern was, Billy's younger than you. Will it last? Which is what I would say a father would ask of any offspring.
And I invoke my mother, who's now dead. She said to me, I remember when I was early on in a relationship, and I was saying, "Oh, this is really tough going, you know?" And there's all the differences in who we are as people in the world. And she sat down alongside me at the fire at home in Cork and said, "Well, you could leave." I'm paraphrasing. "You could leave, but you'll have to encounter those issues with somebody else. So have you really giving it a go?" So in those moments early on in my life, I kind of went, well, let me see if I can work them through here first.
We could be heroes just for one day.
Because we didn't get presents in the kind of traditional present sense. And we were very clear about that when we sent out invitations for our marriage. What we wanted to do is to do something that could make a difference here in Ireland. Not in a grandiose sense, in a very ordinary sense. So we set up an organisation called Bruntinus, which is an organisation we're just setting up in the hope of collaborating with other psychotherapists and counsellors, primarily working in rural areas, to provide intervention around care for the mental health and well-being of people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex in their communities. And so we asked people if they were wanting to give us anything was to make a donation to that organisation. So that's been the greatest gift, really, is of people choosing of their own free will to offer their generosity into this organisation, which will help others in time.
So, Bernard, you had an unexpected gift from Áras an Uachtaráin.
Yes, I mean, part of the coming home for Billy and I was to be received in a private audience by the President an Uachtaráin, President Higgins, and it was humbling to be received by the head of state. And then, in his great humility, he paraded in with, with a gift, candlesticks. You take one.
Take the one, open the other,
with the seal.
With the seal.
Made from wood in the Phoenix Park. For him to choose this gift for us was generosity beyond words. I mean, he must have, to get these, he must have put his hands in the pocket of God. That's all I can say.
In a result keenly watched around the globe, Ireland has become the first country in the world to bring in same-sex marriage by a popular vote.
This was the moment that allowed Bernard and Billy to marry, and they're very grateful to the Irish people.
Sfade an borg an casa, agus vi casa vor a gwynne, tá mid anabuig, tá gair in our griha, agus tá banach di our hall, agus tá mid buicus, buicus, buicus.
Yes, let's be heroes. Just for one day.
And there you have a really beautiful story from County Clare, which brings to an end our programme for this evening. A reminder that First Dates Ireland is on RTE2 on Thursday night, so keep an eye out for it because it really is well worth watching. And so, from all of us on the Nationwide team here at the Gibson Hotel in Dublin, thanks for watching and good evening. On next Wednesday's Nationwide, a focus on lawyers and the law. We meet two solicitors practising in rural Ireland, and we meet a group of secondary school students who have been given the chance to experience the workings of a day in court.